Oh, sorry. Disclaimer. Darkness. I can feel my eyes open and close, so the darkness stays. I blink again and again and again, but the darkness stays all the same. I try to locate my hands, my body seemingly torn apart and scattered throughout the darkness. I can almost feel the microscopic tendrils extending from my brain through my limbs, prodding and squeezing, wriggling just beneath my skin, grabbing a hold of my body parts, putting them back together. Finally, I can feel my hands laying beside me on cold, hard stone, tight ropes wrapped around each of my wrists. What I also feel is the lack of any coverage. Whoever did this to me made sure to humiliate me in every way possible. No! All they left me in was my underwear! I swallow the clump forming in my throat and blink away the tears forming in my eyes. Where am I? Hello? No response. Despite everything, I can feel myself relaxed by the apparent lack of anyone else in the room. With my body finally my own again, I can feel the rough fabric rubbing against my eyelids, a blindfold robbing me of my sight. I release a sigh. At least I'd gone blind. After a moment, I start to make out shapes, lines shimmering through the fabric in front of my eyes. A basement? I stretch my arms, pull on the ropes, half-heartedly, just to see how much range I was granted. The rope tightened as soon as I lift my arms a few centimeters above ground. Lifting my legs is easier. Apparently, whoever tied me hadn't thought it was necessary to bind my feet as well. A small victory, although a useless one. There wasn't much I could do with just my feet. I tried to remember, to fix the projector in my head, but no matter how hard I push, I see nothing. Who am I? There's not a single thing about myself I can remember. I rack my brain for any piece of information I may be able to locate deep within my mind. The pounding inside my head makes it hard to focus on any thought flitting between my synapses. It feels like something buried itself deep into my brain, eating away at any concept of self I once had. There is a flicker of something. I reach for it, firmly grasping for that piece of myself. What is my name? Lion. I repeat my name a few times, grasping a hold of my first shard of self. Shard of? What do you mean my first shard of self? Hello? A second one follows soon after, and I can finally put together a coherent timeline of events. My friends dragged me to a local club to make me forget my recent breakup, they reasoned. I begrudgingly agreed and found myself enjoying the evening more than I thought. I even danced with a few people and found myself indulging in more alcohol than I would usually drink. EDM beats drummed through my body, and every action I took aligned itself with the mesmerizing rhythm of the night. After a few hours of dancing and joking with my friends, I found myself sharing more than a few looks with a man at the back of the club. He looked like he was in his 20s, auburn hair tinted violet through the stage lights. Hello there! His eyes seemed to follow my every move, hunger reflecting in his pupils. Don't mind me, I'm just no, go lower! His eyes seemed to follow my every move, hunger reflecting in his pupils. My friends joked and nudged me towards him once they noticed the stranger. There was a strange air about him, intriguing and dangerous at the same time. He was alone, leaning against the curtain-covered walls, with a cocktail in one of his hands. His other fiddled with something in his pants pocket, too small to be seen from my current position. I'm definitely gonna go talk to him. I danced my way towards him, my eyes locked onto his. The first few words out of my mouth were jumbled. I could feel myself cringe at my failed attempt at introducing myself, but he only laughed and offered up his own name in return. Elias, he told me, taking another sip from his drink. We chatted for a while. learning surface facts about each other and exchanging more and more touches throughout it. He held out his hand, faded scars scattered across his skin. I remembered asking about his cat, and even now I could hear his laugh, soft and clear, a charming melody lulling me even closer. His shoulder bumped against mine, always following the upbeat rhythm of the music. Hey, would you like to have some fun? I know a place we could go to be alone, Elias whispered into my ear, finishing his proposal with a hot blow against the shell of my ear. I'm going with the strangely dangerous man. Yes, please. His hands tightened around mine, and we weaved our way between the drunken and dancing crowd, always only mere moments away from one another. Elias looked back at me several times, and I couldn't help the heat spreading across my cheeks when his eyes landed on me. Our fingers intertwined, and even now I could feel his rough skin rubbing against my own. His hands tighten around mine, and we weave our way between the drunken and dancing crowd. Elias looks back at me several times, and I can't help the heat spreading across my cheeks when his eyes land on me. My friends laughed and waved when I left the club with my new conquest. I knew they would call me the next day, ready to hear every detail of my night. That was the plan. Now I found myself blindfolded in some damp, cold room, my hands bound and belongings gone. God damn it! Ah! I suck in my breath sharply, hold and release it. The air tastes moldy, wet and deceased. I feel like a thick layer of fungi and decay grew in my tongue. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I repeat these actions a few times, calming my racing heart. At least, I feel no clear wounds, and the lack of an ice bath assures me that no organ has been napped. Yet. I shudder just thinking about a bloodied, cold scalpel cutting into my squishy flesh, ripping apart my layers of skin and muscle, just to reach that precious lump of mass, bloody and warm. In my current state, I have no way of defending myself. All I can do is rest, save my energy, and come up with a battle plan. So, what can I do against someone wholly in control of my fate? I could rest or think of a way to escape. I'm gonna take a nap. I decide to close my eyes. I shift my body from left to right to left again, trying to find a comfortable enough position. My arms straight against the restraints, my legs go numb, but my head finds a soft spot on my shoulder. I feel myself doze off. I jolt awake. There's someone else in the room. I think I can hear a sharp breath, and I can feel their presence in front of me. Something reaches towards me, though it never touches my skin. I feel like feather-like tentacles grip onto my body, immobilizing my limbs and paralyzing my whole being. Tentacles? Are you telling me there's tentacles in this game? A whimper escapes my lips, and my ears pick up the faintest hint of a giggle from before me. Something touches the back of my head, and I press my eyes closed, counting to 10 in my mind. The thing touching me goes away, and my face feels a new coolness. I slowly open my eyes. Hi? I blink a few times, trying to get used to the dim light of the room. A basement, I realize, now that the blindfold is gone. At first, I don't recognize the man in front of me, being too occupied with soaking in the cold light beam from the rusty lamp hanging right above me. Finally, I notice the hand hovering near my eyes, holding the piece of cloth that blinded me a few moments ago. I look up and stare back at a pair of cold, unnerving eyes. He smiles, though not an ounce of warmth can be found behind his curling lips. I remember my state of dress and try to cover my lower bits, though my bound hands makes any attempt useless, and I writhe beneath his scalding cold glare. I feel my fingertips grow cold. This is not the man I went with last night. Adrenaline pumps through my body as I examine my new captor. Who is he? How did I end up here? Where am I? He coos at my nervous question, his cold hand reaching towards my head and patting it, ruffling my hair in the process. Why, you are in my humble home, of course, but to be more specific, in my basement. So, don't worry, you won't be here for long. I can promise you that, little one. Now, you're probably wondering who I am. Isn't that right, Lion? My name is Johann, at your service. And you, my precious little pup, are the one I was looking for a long time now. He places his hand over his heart and does a half bow, an almost mocking depiction of politeness. And, my dude, could you find a bigger shirt? Like, I could see plenty of skin, and I am loving it. I freeze. How does he know my name? I swallow, while his bright red eyes bore into me. I feel laid bare, as if he could read every single thought forming in my head. He opens his mouth again, and now I notice his teeth, white, sharp, and unnatural. I need a moment to realize what throws me off until I focus on his long, pointed canines. Were they natural? I'd heard of people who wore prosthetics or got surgery to transplant real dog teeth, but this man seems like the thought of body modification never crossed his mind. As you are awake now, I shall explain to you your purpose of being here. You see, dear. Just before he can say another word, a crash interrupts him. I flinch backwards as my head hits the wall. Hard. I can't help but release a yelp, but close my mouth as fast as it opened. The man before me sighs, but ignores me. The sound came from upstairs, but even so, he doesn't seem alarmed or nervous. I, on the other hand, only feel more anxious by the second. Was he not alone? Johann, as my captor introduced himself, leans back and looks over his shoulder. He seems to see something, scoffs and rummages through his pockets. I try to gather my thoughts. The pounding at the back of my head subsides slowly, but the pain makes it hard to think. The guy in front of me is definitely weird. I can't help but turn my thoughts towards the man I met last night. Is he okay? What happened exactly? I still couldn't remember anything after leaving the club, and I can feel worry gnaw at my stomach. Were we attacked on our way towards one of the cabs waiting outside? I almost want to ask my captor if he also took Elias, but that impulse leaves me as soon as it came. I would be stupid to think he would even acknowledge my question. Johann seems to have found what he was looking for. His hand now holds an old pocket watch, golden and polished. There are words engraved within the metal, but I can't make out exactly what they say. He sighs, his crimson eyes darting over the clock's dial. With a loud snap, he closes the watch and turns back towards me. It seems like he decided to come home earlier than normal. Oh well, what could I do? He puts his watch away and claps once. I need to go upstairs. Be a good little lamb and stay here. Would you, darling? I will be back as soon as my charge should allow. Johann gives me one last condescending smile before turning and making his way up the old wooden stairs across of me. I could hear the basement door close and slump into myself. What the absolute hell? Another panic attack fights its way back up, and I suppress the urge to scream, lest my captor comes to check. I try to think. Johann seemed like he will take a while before he returns. What do I do now? Free myself, look around, wait for Johann's return, look around. With the lamp above me and no creepy man in front of me, I can finally study my surroundings. I pull my knees closer to my chest. Under the dim shade of the light bulb above me, I can finally make real sense of my prison. The basement is small. It will only take a few steps to reach each wall. Tools hang on the one before me, neat and tidy. They look old, rust blossoming on the blades of axes and sickles and penetrating the wooden handles. Several shelves stand against the wall right from me, containing boxes upon boxes neatly lined beside each other. On my right, I can make out the stairs leading towards a wooden door, the same one Johann left through. Well, I'm going to check out the shelves. I shuffled over towards the shelving units and searched for anything useful. Between old damn newspapers and some empty tin cans, I find a long, splintered piece of wood. It reminds me of something, and I only need a few seconds to realize what it was exactly. A stake? I weigh it in my hands and press my other against the tip of its sharpened end. Ah! Blood trickles down my palm. I hiss and lick the blood away. This should make a good weapon. Search the ground. I let my eyes wander across the dirty floor, searching for anything of use for me. Dusty footprints lead from me towards the staircase. The floor seems otherwise empty at first, but then I see it. My breath catches in my throat, and I feel sick when I notice several reddish-black, crusty spots spread before me. I do not need to think for long to realize what exactly I'm looking at. When I bow down to closer examine the spots, I see scratches the size of fingernails as well. The scratches seem to lead towards the staircase, stopping abruptly by the bottom step. I jump back and swallow the urge to puke. Search the tools. I make my way towards the tools hanging on the wall. I should find a good weapon among these. Once I stand in front of the various gardening tools, my hope fades quickly. My eyes wander across the blades, each as rusty and run down as the one before. I'm gonna sit back down. I decide to sit back down where I was bound up before. Better sit down now before it catches me walking around. I hold the stake in my hands for a moment, clueless as to what I should do with it. After a few seconds fiddling with it in my hands, I have an idea. Carefully, I place the stake between my butt and thighs and wiggle around a few times. Hey, what am I doing with a stake? Hello? Hello? The light from above cast a dark, impenetrable shadow beneath my legs, making the wood hard to notice. The bindings from before lay on the ground where I left them. I picked them up and wrapped the rope around my ankle, so looser than before. Still, the rough rope rubs against my open flesh, and I hiss at the stray bristles entering my wound. I sit for a while, my mind racing with potential outcomes of my current situation. Images of Johann flash before my eyes, and my throat tightens. Before, it was just an eerie feeling, easily suppressed and covered by seemingly rational thoughts, but now I'm certain. I will not be leaving this place alive. My throat burns and my eyes feel dry. I try to breathe steadily and force down the bile traveling up my throat. Silent tears fall from the corner of my eyes and blur my vision. Soon there's only one thought occupying my mind. I don't want to die. Soon that sentence is all that's left on my mind. The stake beneath my legs did little to comfort me. Even if I would be able to stun him with this piece of wood, I would still need to escape the house. Johann made it clear that we were not alone. The wounds on my wrists and ankles burn, and the beaten beneath me is just rough enough to make it impossible to find some comfort. The silence burns in my ears, worming its way into my brain. I press one side of my head into my knees and cover the other with my tied-up hands. Soon, all I can hear is my own heartbeat, drumming along to an unknown rhythm. Its melody soothes me, bit by bit, and I start to calm down. Suddenly, the door at the top of the staircase flies open, and someone rushes down the wooden steps. I need to blink away the salty tears clinging to my eyelashes before I can clearly see the man in front of me. Our eyes meet, and a surprised squeak escapes my lips. This situation would almost be comical if I wasn't half naked and tied up in some lunatic's basement. Before me stands none other than the man I met, what I was assuming to be last night? Elias? Lion. I'm sorry. It took a while before finally getting here. Break-in took more effort than I expected. He chuckles apologetically and shoots me a cheeky grin. I gape at his nonchalance. Elias notices my furrowed brows and raises his hands as if to placate me. Don't worry, though. He has not noticed me coming. I made sure he would be distracted. He laughs again, light and airy, brushing past my ears like a sweet kiss. Dumbfounded, I take a moment to respond. What do you mean? What are you planning to do? I'm here to save you, silly. My heart swells with hope after hearing that. Elias draws nearer and soon towers above me, blocking out the light of the lamp completely. I have to blink away the dark specks flowing across my vision when he does. Only now was I able to realize how uncomfortably bright the light was before. My eyes burn and tears gather along the rims of my lower lids. I blink again and again. Suddenly, Elias grabs me and pulls me up. What are you doing? I yell, too scared to actually raise my voice. Still, Elias starts, surprised by my protest. Taking you up, of course. We need to leave as soon as we can, or else we will both be in big trouble. He laughs and looks at me with smiling eyes. Still, please don't suddenly pick me up like that, okay? You scared me. I protest, but only half-heartedly. I know Elias is right, and I know that I won't be able to move fast enough. I sigh and raise my arms. Elias stares at me for a moment, and with an "oh," he reaches beneath them and lifts me up. What the? A squeal escapes my lips. Even though I anticipated it, his other arm snakes around my legs and he presses me against his chest. His warmth envelops me, and for the first time since I woke up, I truly feel safe. It would be best if you close your eyes, pretty. Then it'll only feel like a moment until you're saved. His chest vibrates when he speaks, and his voice lulls me in. I feel safe, protected, and despite everything, I feel drowsy. Don't worry. I'll keep you safe. I want to respond, but my mouth won't open. All I can do is gaze into his eyes until they close as well. After all, you are my one and only. Oh, that was the end of the demo. God damn. Anyway, that was Love Bites. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. This is promising so far. Clearly we are not supposed to trust Elias, and we are Johan's dinner. I'm a bit curious as to see where exactly this will go. Hopefully we'll see an update for this soon enough. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.